Hi, I was just practicing here actually. This is a cool exercise, and it doesn't have to sound like this in order for it to be effective. Actually, when I started out doing this exercise, it sounded very differently because this is really rhythm skills and not so much the notes I'm playing. And the cool thing is that you have to keep the tempo, you have to play the chord, and you have to play the licks in between, or the little lines in between. You have to improvise as you play and keep control of all these elements. And the reason why it's a cool exercise is because it forces you to not go any higher than you can actually go. Because the whole limit here is when you start losing control. And so let me just play the same thing, but let me start at a level where most people can follow. The first thing you do is just to pick a chord and a scale. In this case, I was using the E minor pentatonic, or E blues scale, and then I'm playing an E major dominant seventh, E seventh with the ninth on it. But it could also be just an E7, dominant 7. And then I decide on you have to have control over a scale pattern that is pretty close to the chord that you're playing. But that's it. And then I have this beat here. And the whole point here is to keep your hand moving at all times. And it can move in two levels. It can move on the rhythm guitar, playing a chord where you strum all the strings. And it can move just on one string. And all the notes I'm playing in between are just based on or derived from that same rhythm. So you might start with just learning the rhythm. And let me just explain the chord to you if you want to play exactly what I'm playing. I'm placing my second finger in the 7th fret on the A string, my first finger in the 6th fret on the D string, and I'm not playing the low E string. You can, because this is an E dominant 7th add 9th chord. So that would be the root note, but 2nd finger, 7th fret A string, 1st finger, 6th fret D string, and then I put my 3rd finger in the 7th fret on the G string, and then I bar the 3 top strings there, the G, B, and E string with that finger as I am playing the other notes down here, the 2nd and 1st finger, and I get that chord. You might have to practice that but you can pick any chord, dominant 7th, whatever. But so, and I start that, I take the chord and I slide it up to the 7th fret, so I hit it, and you can choose something even simpler than this. You can just go. But I'm just going with this funky little beat here. Right? So once I have that rhythm in my body, I can start putting some very, very basic, simple stuff in between of going. And I can. Then I can start expanding on that. And the whole thing, every time you lose your place and you can't really tap your foot, first of all, because that's just a prerequisite to doing this. If you can't tap your foot, you're playing something too complicated up here. So I go. And you have to have your focus on whether or not you can hit the next chord there, and not so much on what you're playing, because that's the whole discipline, is keeping that chord moving. Like that. That's you must have that in place. And every time you lose your place, you go back to something more simple and play it. And then you can start using multiple notes, but still simple rhythm, so you can keep your place as you tap your foot. course, if you haven't practiced rhythm at all, then this will be highly limited to what you can do, because sometimes you have to go back and just stop this exercise and then just start practicing a rhythm, for instance, because there's something you can hear in your head but that you can't play. So let's say you're hearing ba 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 da ba da 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 da, but you can't play it. And then so you drop the whole exercise, and then you start ba 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 da 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 da, foot 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 foot. Or you pin it down, you know, little piece of paper, little X's and boxes that we've been talking about in another video. But and then you can go back and say, okay, now I have a little thing there that I can, and then you can start building complexity. And you can do this every day and just keep building. And every time you lose your place, you know for sure that you just hit the upper limit of what you can do rhythmically. And it's very often a matter of hearing something in your head that you feel this, and then you're, stumbling, and then you can't do it. And then you absolutely know that the second you can play anything in between and not lose your place and just go. That's when you have total control over what you're doing. And you can do other stuff like you can have a blues thing going in the background, like, and then have your foot, just that, and then tapping your foot. That's the first level. And then you start simply just maybe just playing on that foot going down, because that's the easiest level. And then being a little more courageous with what you do. And every time you stumble, you go back and say, what did I want to play? How would that be? And then you can stop and practice it a little bit and then continue. See if you can add it to your playing loop there. The thing that is really going to sabotage you more than anything else is constantly pushing to play something that you cannot play without losing your place. Because in that zone of constantly failing, like trying to, that you didn't get it down, and you try again. And then, so you're constantly just in that zone of not learning, of doing something that the brain cannot use for learning at all, because you're doing what you don't want to do. So stay within that zone where you can do it right, and then try to build on that. So if all you can do is just play on that foot going down, then try to play also on the foot going up. That's the next level, right? So you go down, 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 right? My foot went up there, and then right, and of course you have to be relatively fast, grabbing that chord again. So it's a good idea to use something that you're really good at, chord-wise. So this is a really, really beneficial exercise. Try it for 30 days. Do it every single day. You pick up your guitar, you start doing this, and you keep within that zone of what is easy, and then keep pushing just a little bit outside of it, and you'll see some really incredible results, all aimed at making you a very, very good musician. It'll take all your skills, your techniques, your scale knowledge, everything you're practicing, and bring it together into a little discipline that will actually merge all the skills and techniques and make you a better musician. So I highly recommend it.